The default in virtually all of these is 10 days. If you test positive, if you get exposed, you should generally isolate or quarantine for 10 days. The CDC allowed a number of ways you could shorten that or get out of that a little bit earlier. So on this slide, if your symptoms fully resolve, so you say you have little sniffles on day 1 and 2, you get a test, you're positive, and by day 5 or 6, your symptoms fully resolve, you can shorten the isolation period to as short as 5 days. But under all circumstances, you should stay home, stay away from school, stay away from other people until you are past the 5-day mark, even if all your symptoms resolve. But even there, the CDC says for 10 days, you should wear a well-fitting mask for the full 10 days. Now, I'm going to come back to that. In every one of these scenarios, the CDC says you should wear a well-fitting mask for the full 10-day period, even if you get out of isolation or quarantine earlier. And that's real important because I know there's a lot of, I don't like wearing a mask either, but a lot of folks just don't want to wear a mask. I think folks, we're finished with discussing the evidence. The evidence is overwhelming. The masks slow the transmission of the disease. They don't do it perfectly, but they do it very well. So everybody needs to wear a mask for the full 10 days of isolation or quarantine. But you could go back to work if you have no symptoms and just wear a mask for the last 5 days. That's a big deal. That helps get you back to work sooner. It helps keep businesses open. If you've tested positive for COVID and you've never had symptoms, then after 5 days, wearing a mask for 5 more days, you can go back to work. All right. So that's on this slide, which we'll have on our website, I believe. And I'm sure there's reporters who have taken pictures of it already. So if we can go on to the next slide, please. This is for quarantine. This is where your vaccination status starts to impact this here. If you are not fully vaccinated or you are eligible for a booster but have not gotten your booster yet, you should quarantine for 10 days after your last exposure. And here too, you could shorten it to 5 days if you have no symptoms, which means you haven't shown that you have the illness yet, and you get a negative test on day 5 or later. So the CDC used to have a version that was a week long, and they shortened this to 5 days. So if you have no symptoms, even if you're not vaccinated, and you get a negative test on day 5, you can go back to work as long as you wear a mask, well-fitting mask for the next 5 days. If you are boosted or fully vaccinated, if you're fully vaccinated within 6 months of your second dose or fully vaccinated and boosted, so you're 6 months after your second dose of your vaccine, you don't have to quarantine at all, but they still recommend you get a test after 5 days, and you should still wear a mask. In every scenario, because Omicron spreads so rapidly and so effectively, people are urged to wear a mask. So next slide. I'm not going to dwell on this as much. This is going to be posted as well. There's more to it on the bottom, and we'll try to reformat it so it's appropriate for social media. But there's a one-page infographic that will talk about this, the 10-5-10, about 10 days of isolation or 5 days if you're asymptomatic for isolation and just tested positive, or 10 days for quarantine. And then underneath, it'll tell you the ways you can get that to be shorter on that infographic. So we'll have that posted on the website here today.